If I were to say VZ Skorpion, most of you think that I'm saying CZ Skorpion. But why would I ever say something knowing that it's going to make me vomit? God, scorpions. No, I mean the VZ61 Skorpion. Most of you recognize this from movies and video games, but you don't necessarily know much about it. So allow me to tell you its tale.
Certain guns are destined to be used by bad guys. They're dirty, filthy in the best of ways, and the VZ61 Skorpion is just that. It features a useless stock with the coolest deployment method ever, sights that are more like suggestions, a horrible manual of arms, and it fires a round that is all but completely worthless. Been there and seen that. But I bet you haven't seen this. This VZ61 took a holiday to MK3 Firearms and came back transformed. So do I have your attention now?
Today we are paying tribute to a gun that I think a lot of you are sleeping on. That would be the VZ61 Skorpion. It is very classic and yet, much to probably some of your surprise, very attainable. So we're gonna be doing a couple of things in this video. We're gonna be looking at the classic build, right? With the over folder stock, and it is oh so cool. And we're also going to be looking at a modern interpretation of the VZ61 Skorpion. Both these bad boys got built out by the boys at MK3 Firearms down in Vegas. We are also going to be looking at the best movies to feature the VZ61 Skorpion. We're going to look at some villains. We're going to look at some heroes. But before we do all of that, we should probably answer the most fundamental question. What exactly is the VZ61 Skorpion? Guys, if you like to party, and I like to think that you do, I like to think if you watch this channel, we're kind of like, we like to party together on the internet in a non-weird way. But if you like to party, you guys are gonna wanna get yourself a belt from Ciguera Gear. Today, I'm actually rocking the standard Emissary belt. Typically, I wear the light inner Velcro belt. That is the one that I like to EDC personally. You can always fact check me on that. If you see me in public, I will show you my belt. Again, not in a weird way, but I will pull up my shirt. I will show you my belly and my belt. Today is the Emissary belt. This is more of that kind of workhorse, all-purpose, good at the range. You can also EDC it. I'm wearing it because the old VZ61 Skorpion here, a little bit heavier, a little light inner Velcros, a little bit outclassed by the old heavy 32 ACP sub gun here. So they got that, the Battle Wagon, tons of different like mag carrier solutions, vehicle accessories, things like that. Check it out. The code that will save you guys 10% off the store is 1911 Syndicate. There's no spaces in that. So do that. You can even put in your order notes. Hey, the Syndicate boys sent me. Thanks, guys. Keep doing good work. So, with that said, let's get on with the show. Well, it is a machine pistol originating from Czechoslovakia. These still say the Czech Republic on them. These were developed in 1959, but they came to sort of final fruition in 1961, which is how they got the designation 61. They were designed really to fill a similar role to the MP5K. They were designed kind of with folks in mind like pilots, you know, as like a small compact weapon that could go in a cockpit, or tank drivers in general, PSD teams, things like that. Believe it or not, these are still used by some nations currently, and I'm kind of here for it. I think that that's awesome. But largely, they became a gun used by criminals and criminal organizations. So what do you have with the VZ61? Well, you've got a straight blowback gun, chambered in 32 ACP. The round is absolutely adorable. After you shoot this for a while, you start to think this is the size of normal bullets, and then you grab 9mm and you're like, 9mm is huge. That's because 32 ACP is tiny. The gun fires from a closed bolt. It actually has some pretty good features. So it's got last round hold open. It also, the safety is here. It's not ambidextrous. So for a lefty, whatever, you'll figure it out. Not that big a deal. So if the gun's unsafe and you try to charge around, you can't. The safety basically locks the entire system down. So if you throw it on fire, charge the bolt, you'll notice last round hold open. Pretty cool. You'll also notice from this, it is top eject. Maybe one of the most fun features of the gun. The non-suppressed one, you know, it'll shoot rounds, probably call it 8 feet up in the air. The suppressed one, different story. It is an absolute riot to check out. The wire stock is kind of notoriously useless. That's how you deploy it. That's how you know the gun's gonna be a fun time, when you have to literally hit it to get it to work. It's kind of like an MP5 where you gotta slap it to, like, that's part of the manual of arms, you hit the gun. Same thing with this, and it's a lot of fun. The stock is kind of notorious that it's useless. I actually don't really find it to be that bad. Now, in all fairness, Mark III Firearms down in Vegas, they did some welding on the back of this. There's a little bit of inherent wobble that's back here, but a lot of it's gone just because of that little TLC that they put on the back of the stock. The trigger is kind of surprisingly good. It's actually quite good. So there's just a little bit of take up, and then it's a pretty clean little break after that. Really not a bad trigger whatsoever. So the cool thing about these guns, they were designed to be carried as pistols. So you'll notice I've got a holster for mine on a thigh rig, because that's actually kind of how it was meant to be carried. The holster is from a company called Code 4 Defense. They will come up a little bit later in regards to the modern build. So what is the gun like to shoot? Well, it is an absolute freaking riot is what it is. So the irons are not great, and yet you will notice here at somewhere around 18 yards, they're actually pretty usable on a gun that is not meant to really have any more range than that. You can actually run the piss out of these guns. The coolest thing about them is, some of you are probably watching this going, man, that's so cool. How'd you get one? Did you find an old one that got imported or whatever? It's like, no, these are pretty readily available in terms of the parts kit. So you do really need to start from a parts kit and have it built out from there. Mark III could like help you guys navigate that. We put together kind of a little cheat sheet for you guys that might want one of these, but these are incredibly attainable. So surprisingly, the VZ61 doesn't actually have a lot of notable movie references. There's some, and we're gonna go through it today, but it's actually not as grand as you would think. But we're gonna start with the villains. We're gonna start on the villain side of the house, then we'll move over to the heroes and take a look at that. So the first movie that we're looking at is Executive Decision. Executive Decision, great movie. We also covered it in the USP video. Quite a few good different guns between MP5s, VZs, USPs, all that kind of stuff. Shockingly, the VZ is with a terrorist. So basically, some terrorists have taken over a plane, and Steven Skull and John Leguizamo and Kurt Russell, they got to go in, special ops dudes, and they're going to take back over the plane. So at this point in the movie, the team has gotten aboard the plane through an awesome system that I won't spoil, and they're down on a hatch, but the terrorists are sending down the pilot to see like, hey, what's this disturbance? And you can see the VZ. You'll see the VZ with our head bad guy here. Solid 1911 there too. Okay, so pilot's going back up. We got our bad guys. You see his VZ there. He's got the stock. He's got the whole classic setup. Overload. Finger on the trigger. True bad guy. Finger on the trigger the entire time. Look at that little gun. It's so cool. The fact that we can have that gun, like it's not like this is an attainable gun. I mean, these aren't even much. Okay, all clear. We've just avoided detection. Now, we're gonna skip ahead to the finale. Okay, so now in the finale, Kurt Russell has sent it. He's got his USP that's made to look like a Mark 23, but it's not its USP. Just shooting blindly into a crowd. There he is. Oh! Okay, still in the finale. Turns out the bad guy's not dead. Still got his VZ. Turn around. Damn. Damn. Took one to the back. Like I said, he's a bad guy. It's a bad guy gun. One hand. Never deploys the stock. Why would you deploy the stock? It's a bad guy gun. We don't use stocks. Look at this asshole move he does right here. Oh, that's a cool move. That was the pilot's captain. So now the whole damn plane's going down. Which also, if we're gonna be honest with each other, kind of surprised that 32 ACP could make it through that. So anyway, bad guy gets smoked by a good guy with a good gun. His dirty gun, all it did, he attempted to take down the plane. Not today, not on our watch. Okay, next movie. Face Off. It's brief. The Skorpion is used briefly in Face Off. I'd be so curious. It would be so fun to take a poll of the audience to go, how many of you know the scene in Face Off? Because it's brief. Okay, so we got to go to the opening, the airport hangar scene. At this point, Sean Archer, John Travolta, has basically stopped the plane, well, it made it crash into a building. And now Castor Troy and his brother Pollux got to give their last stand. Guess what gun Pollux Troy has? It's brief. These are the things I remember from childhood though. Okay, plane crashes in. I mean, we won't even begin to touch like the all-time great movie gun that's about to be seen here. Astute viewers. After his bro, there he is, timid. Shoots it a couple times, dives out, stock folded, sending it full auto into the crowd. Doesn't pan out too well for Pollux. Just gets front kicked by a female FBI agent. Well, that's that. So Pollux Troy, another villain with the VZ61 Skorpion. Okay, next movie on the list would be Snowpiercer. Great movie. I think highly potentially underrated. I believe it even became a TV series. But so basically we've got like this dystopian world that has been frozen over, and the only thing that remains, I'm kind of going from memory here, the only thing that remains is basically the train, which I think is called the Snowpiercer, that basically travels around the frozen landscape, and all civilization is aboard this train. So basically you got the good guys, they're kept living like a bunch of poor people on the train, and then you got the rich overlords that keep running the thing. And so here we go. So they're giving out these eggs. I don't know remember what the meaning of the eggs are. So there's something inside the egg, blood, I don't know. Look at this. Look at this chick. Just, hell yeah. Just, yep. Yeah, that's what's up. No one in like any movie ever actually deploys the stock. Like the stock is always just hinged on top of the gun. Guys, other sponsor for today's video, that'd be Big Tex Ordnance. So a lot of the stuff you see on this, they got optics, they got lights, they got pressure pads, tail caps, they got all these kinds of things. They don't have VZ61 Skorpions. Maybe they will after this, who knows? Don't quote me on that, just saying. If you place your order before 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, that's their time there in Texas, they're gonna get your order out the same day. That's impressive. I don't know how they do it actually, because they get a lot of orders. How they get all that shit out in the same day? I don't know, but good on them. They also send you a copy of the Constitution with your order. You get some candy. If that doesn't make you feel like an American, I don't know what does. You got the Second Amendment right in front of you, and I'm eating candy. That's good American shit. As is this. Well, technically it's from Czech Republic, but you know, you catch my drift. So anyway, check out Big Tex. They got a lot of great stuff. Again, the code is 1911 SYN, 1911 SYN, as in syndicate. That'll save you guys 10% off the site. Helps us, helps them, helps you. It's a win-win for everyone. And then if you guys need any ways to support the 1911 syndicate, which I like to think you do, real estate is super dead for us right now, guys, and that has historically been the thing that has kept the lights on the most around here, since content's not the most high-paying gig, at least in the gun world. So if you're just looking for any ways to support, Patreon would be a good way to do that. It truthfully really does help, especially in a down sort of economic time for small businesses like us right now. So anyway, scope that out. Really appreciate it. Back on with the show. So guys, the longer I do the channel, I am beginning to be convinced that the most fun you can have with firearms is to take older guns and then modernize the shit out of them and just take the governor off, have some fun with it. This gun is that on steroids. My love for this gun really cannot be overstated. You know, I get to, humbly, I try to convey to you guys, like, you know, I get to shoot a lot of cool fun shit. A lot of 2011s, you know, whatever, you know, a lot of fun shit. This is one of the most fun shooting experiences I have had in a significant amount of time. It is an absolute riot. And the cool thing is, let's say you had a new shooter and you were trying to get them used to shooting a shoulder fire weapon without it being an intimidating process. One, this weighs nothing. Like, I mean, you could just hold this on target for like 3 hours before you got tired. So really not intimidating. Two, it's quiet because now it's suppressed 32 ACP. Everything about it is just non-intimidating. For a new shooter, like if you're trying to teach your kids, your woman, or if you're more of a dude-ish woman and you have more of a girly man, this would be a great thing to teach your girly man. Or if you're a manly man and you're like, I just want to fucking burn it down, bro, you can burn it down on this thing. Like it's nothing. Gun doesn't move. Like, and I wish you guys could have the joy of hearing the rounds fly above your head like a brass rainbow and the sound effect that comes from them, the bzzz as the rounds, and 2 seconds after you're done shooting, brass is still hitting the ground. It is an amazing experience. So let's just talk about exactly what is going on this gun. So at the end of the day, these are the same thing. Fundamentally, these are the same gun. I would be willing to bet if I showed most of you this, you would be like, oh, I don't know the name of it, but I know what gun that is. If I were to show you this with no context, a lot of you would be like, what is that? I don't actually know what that is. So it is the same parts kit, generally speaking, as the classic build here. Obviously not the stock, and you know, the front end has been changed beyond that, really beyond the stock. It is the same fundamental parts list in terms of the gun. Then from there, then we started getting crazy with it, right? So I was talking to Mark III, and originally we were gonna do a matching set. We're gonna do 2 of the classics so we could dual wield them, have fun. Then I was like, man, let's just fucking get wild on one of them. So the parts, some of the stuff you guys are wondering about, basically the stock, this rear end, and sort of this front end system is from the company that actually made the holster for the classic build here, Code 4 Defense. So basically what you got is this stock here is a side folder. So the stock will fold. So like if you wanted this as a bag gun or something like that, I mean, come on, give me a break. Like that's the coolest thing in the world. So you got a side folding stock. You do have I don't know if it's actually QD. I didn't really try. Probably the weak point on all this is there's no sling attachments for any left-handed shooters, and I'm a lefty, so I'm kind of shit out of luck when it comes to sling attach. For a righty, you do have sling attaches on this. So the optic is basically the little optic rail here is part of the stock sort of chassis system. In terms of where the optic winds up landing, it's legitimately like this perfect Goldilocks zone of optic height. Like if you were to run an aim point on an AR on a Unity mount, it's basically that. It's probably like, you know, 2.1, somewhere in there. It's absolutely this perfect neutral position. The optic, because again, I wanted this thing to be kind of funky. So the optic is a HoloSun SCRS. Never heard of it. Prior to, I was like, what optic are we gonna put on this? It's gonna be appropriately kind of funky. And I saw this on the HoloSun site and I was like, that's it. I think that might be it because it's tiny. Ironically, the optic is really fun and it's perfect on this gun. Then we go up to the front end. So this, the grip here is actually the exact same grip as this. It's Cerakoted, it's wrapped, it's got some goon tape on it, so it's looking all cool and shit, but it's like, this is actually a wood grip. So then up front, this is where a lot of obviously all this has been Cerakoted and done this in this like couple of multi-shades of whatever the fuck is happening here. That's a proper term. I feel like Mark III would appreciate that. Multi-tones of whatever the fuck is happening here. The front end, a few different things happening. So you've got pick rails, a vert grip. The vert grip is actually separate. So Code 4 basically makes the rear and the front end handguard, I guess, sort of we'll call it, and they make this grip. The grip is actually cut with a slot for a mod button in it. So there is actually a mod button in here that doesn't even protrude out from the grip. It's actually just in there, and then we just got some tape over it. So I can literally run this, and then just with basically my middle finger, I can just activate the light from there. M-lock on both sides of the little handguard here, so we threw on a mod light. We've got a D-ball up top. I know some of you are probably going, what's up with the D-ball there, bro? Because I don't even see like switches or cables or anything coming out of it. So I like to think that we're close enough, I can be honest with you. I don't even have a battery on the D-ball at this point. It is here purely for vibes and an aesthetic, and I am perfectly good with that, and you should be too, because this is America, and you're allowed to put a nonsensical IR emitter on a VZ61 Skorpion because it's America. This ain't France, okay? This is the shit we do in America, everyone. And then we got a can on the end of it. So this is a can from a company I never really had any experience with prior to this. So Rex Selenium. This is a 9mm can. It actually has a wipe on it. I guess one thing from a pro tip level here. So when you put a wipe in this, the added back pressure of that, the system really doesn't like it since it's a direct blowback gun. So took the wipe out. Gun has kind of shockingly, to be honest with you, run flawless ever since then. I mean, like, been pretty hard on this gun today. Fast firing cadence, just burning it down, like no malfunctions to speak of. Like, these things are actually pretty incredibly reliable. So that is a little tour of what's happening on this guy. Okay, next, let's switch over to the hero side of the VZ61 Skorpion movies. So up first is going to be Body of Lies. Body of Lies, I don't know. I don't think it's a great movie, but it's actually a very simple premise to which almost no one can ever understand. So it's GWAT era. You got CIA. They're over in the Middle East and they're doing CIA shit in the Middle East. Cool, great. There you go. That's the plot of the movie. Leo DiCaprio is he's one of the operatives, and he has a CZ or a VZ61 in a couple of different scenes. Let's play the first one. So one of his sources or something to this effect is being pursued. So we got guys getting out of the van. This is DiCaprio's CIA source here. He's got a VZ61 and a shoulder holster. Did you see that? Actually pretty gangster. And he literally uses the gun to shoot his source. Again, I say the VZ61, not really so much a hero gun. I mean, it's a little hard to consider it a hero gun there, but he uses it there to smoke someone that he's working with. Then our other scene here. I don't remember why he's going to this family's house or whatever it is. Okay, there goes that guy. There goes the 61. It's kind of weird because in both the scenes where he uses it, like the stock is out, but it just kind of, like he doesn't actually slap it out. That's what I wish they'd done. I wish they'd showed him deploying the stock and actually hitting it up. And then it's like the stock's out, but he's not actually using the stock. It's like, bro, that's the whole point. There we go. Awesome. So like, it really gets some use here. It's like, Leo, put the damn stock on your shoulder. That's the whole point of the stock. 3 points of contact, come on. Uh-oh, that doesn't look good. Also, I don't think he ever does a reload in this. And those are 20 round mags. Like, we definitely had a pretty magical Hollywood magazine on that. And the building blows up. So really, that is actually a pretty good scene for the VZ61 though. Okay, next movie on the list would be a pretty bad one. The Long Kiss Goodnight. Does anyone remember that? Maybe the people born in the 80s might remember that one. So Sam Jackson, Gina Davis, and basically she's like a soccer mom that has no memory, but she gets her memory back, turns out. Yeah, government assassin is what she did. So she goes on the warpath to, I don't know, right the wrongs that have been done to her or whatever it is. You know, it's basically an excuse for this lady to show how badass she is, because that's how things work in real life. The VZ61 shows up at the end. Again, we'll notice a theme here as we start playing the clip, which is it's not really a hero gun. It was a gun that the bad guys had that the good guy just happened to get off the dead bad guy. She's got her kid with her, so we're all feeling bad for her. But that guy's not. He's just shooting at her and her child. How about don't have your kid in the gunfights, though? Sam Jackson comes back to life. Very dramatic Sam Jackson here. Kind of forget how dramatic he is in this, but okay. Here we go. She's got to draw the fire away from Sam Jackson and the child. We have a body literally burning up there. And it appears on the burning corpse is a VZ61 Skorpion. Here we go. Grab it. Yep. That's what's up. Look at the mag capacity. Holy shit. There's like a 100 round drum. So that's what's up. And then she rappels down the set of Christmas lights. So guys, when it comes to documentary filmmaking, this is basically a documentary. That is how real life tactics work. If anyone from the Delta Force watches this, I would just suggest maybe you pick up a copy of The Long Kiss Goodnight. So the final movie, and it's really the movie for the VZ61. And I'm gonna bet that some of you might have cheated, you might have looked this stuff up in advance, but for those of you that didn't, do you know that the VZ61 Skorpions are probably the coolest gun from the lobby shootout of The Matrix? The lobby shootout of The Matrix is action movie grail tier of like, it really doesn't get any better than that in my opinion, and it holds such an effects heavy scene like that holds up so well over time, which is crazy. And the VZ61, like, certainly debatably is actually the coolest gun from the shootout. Okay, here we are, things are about to get spicy now. He starts with the 92s. The 92s are how well, it really starts with the MP5K, but then the 92s sort of kick off the main part of the scene. Okay, so when he runs dry on the 92s, oh my God, look at those guns. Oh my God, the dual wielded VZs. Look at these things. And listen to the sound effects they make. I mean, legit guys, this is like the coolest part of the scene. I mean, it has the actual coolest shots. Look at this. See if anyone's catching what's happening right now as well. Look at these shots. I mean, come on, son. So we're gonna back up. So I'm gonna back up with you guys. So watch the shells. The shells eject properly. Shells are going up out of the gun. Why is 223 brass falling on the ground? So it's one of the classic continuity errors of the scene, is that he's shooting a 32 ACP gun with top ejecting brass, and brass is just falling perfectly down, and it's from a 5.56 gun. Look at that shot, come on, son. If you don't want these guns after this, if you don't want those guns after that scene, you're dead inside. So here's my question to you guys. If we were to, let's just say hypothetically, we were to do a clone of that, like me and Mark III, we got together and we put our little heads together and we did like a dozen of those things or something. Who's in for a VZ61 Matrix edition? Some of you better be, because I'm in for 2. So let's hit you guys with some final thoughts. Guys, like I said earlier in the video, this is genuinely some of the most fun that I've had shooting a new gun in a memorable amount of time. I don't want you guys to sleep on this. This is in this crazy Goldilocks zone of a gun that is incredibly fun and yet incredibly attainable. I don't know if we'll be able to pull it off, but we're gonna, you know, I'm really talking to Mark III like, guys, we gotta keep going on this. I mean, these are so fun. We could do so many different configurations that like, we gotta keep going. I mean, I want like half a dozen of these bad boys on the wall in different configurations and all kinds of wild different shit, right? So we're gonna keep pushing the ball forward on VZ61s. Like I said, don't sleep on these. These are incredibly fun and very attainable. With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode tonight, and we will see you next time.